or I just want the world to change. There's plenty of stuff around us currently
Mhm.
and always, it seems like, that are pretty, it's like, I want this changed. From that other place that I've chosen to align with ego consciousness, individually, collectively, and then my brain starts thinking this way, and then my heart starts feeling this way, and then my body starts feeling this way. The chemicals you were talking about, the tension in the body. My favorite conversation, A Course in Miracles, because I think this section that I have picked will help us get to the how to. How do we, all that we've been talking about, how do I practice this?
Mhm.
Like tonight, tomorrow, the next day, like what is a practical way that I can actually put this into practice? And that's why I love A Course in Miracles a lot.
Mhm.
Not one of the many reasons why I love it a lot is that it's a very practical spirituality. And it has 365 lessons, a lesson for each day of the year, which I've said that multiple times. But, sometimes people haven't heard the
Right.
previous conversations. And today's, what I felt like going into is lesson 23. And the title is very interesting. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts.
Mm. Mm.
So, how does that connect to what we're talking about? So, it says the idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. The only way out of fear that will ever succeed is to say, I can escape from the world I see or from whatever situation. Don't let the world be confusing to you. And I can escape from this financial difficulty I have,
Mm.
this
Mhm.
this argument I'm dealing with, this emotional overwhelm, this fear about how am I gonna finish this project, how all the launching that is happening in my business, Gilly, like all these things that are coming up. I can escape from that part of the overwhelm that I see by giving up attack thoughts. The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. Nothing else will work. Pretty absolute language here. Everything else is meaningless, but this way cannot fail. Every thought you have makes up some segment of the world you see.
Mm. Mhm.
It is with your thoughts, then, that we must work if your perception of the world is to be changed. If the cause of the world you see is attack thoughts, you must learn that it is these thoughts which you do not want. So, a lot of the times we get caught up in, I just want the situation to change, or I just want the world to change. There's plenty of stuff around us
Mm.
currently
Mhm.
and always, it seems like, that are pretty, it's like, I want this changed.
Mhm.
No matter what your beliefs are or choices, there's always something that we want to be changed in our families, in our businesses, in our bodies, in everything. Like we want stuff different, right? But we focus so much on that. And Course Miracles is saying, if the cause of the world you see is your attack thoughts, so the thing that you want to be changed is actually your own attack thoughts, then it's these thoughts that you want to start working with.
Mhm.
And most of us have a lot of attack thoughts, judgmental thoughts, harsh thoughts. That's the ego. It's the same conversation. It's recognizing those attack thoughts and then understanding that it's those that we want to work with if the situation that we want to be changed is to be changed.
Mhm.
And then I'll finish with this and then we can chat about it. The idea for today introduces the thought that you are not trapped in the world you see because its cause can be changed.
And what is that cause?
The attack thoughts.
Right. It's coming from in here.
It's coming from the
The
not even in
ego
this
mind.
physical body, right? It's
Right.
coming from a choice on another level, like you were saying in the beginning of our call, from that other place that I've chosen to align with the ego consciousness individually, collectively. And then my brain starts thinking this way, and then my heart starts feeling this way, and then my body starts feeling this way. The chemicals you were talking about, the tension in the body comes from that place. This change requires first that the cause be identified and then let go so that it can be replaced. The first two steps in this process require your cooperation. The final one does not. Your images have already been replaced. By taking the first two steps, you will see that this is so. I love A Course in Miracles. It's only lesson 23, and it still is like, what? What it's talking about is that our cooperation, in terms of our willingness, there's free will, and there's just a little bit of willingness that we are invited to have. And that willingness is to say, for this thing to change, for whatever each person is dealing with that wants to be different, or if it's yourself that you want to change, still you got to go back to the cause and recognize that it's the ego, it's the attack thoughts.
Mhm.
You want to identify them, you want to let them go, and then they will be replaced. Because just by you doing those first two steps of identifying and letting go, it actually, the other step is comes now your higher self, divine support, whatever you believe or not believe, doesn't matter, but you're not alone.
Yeah. Mhm.
Go ahead. Can we
I'm just
hear what you're
thinking I'm thinking about affirmations and positive thinking and how earlier we were saying that yeah, that is helpful. These are helpful things, yet they aren't effective unless they're coming in to replace something that's already been identified as being let go, right? As the old that you're releasing.
perfect.
Yeah. So like when I was going through my healing and I identified what was going on in my mind, in the attack thoughts that I had, I didn't even realize I had so many.
Hmm.
I had no clue. I had to have a huge spiritual 2x4 hit me over the head to tell me, this is how you've been thinking and operating.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue? Yeah. Or do you want to wake up? Luckily, I chose to wake up. And
Yes, it is.
luckily, and not even luckily, divinely timed, people show up,
Yep.
answers come in, right? So once I could identify, hey, this is how I've been thinking, this is how I've been operating, and this is what I'm willing to let go of now. And I would let myself know, I go through the practices of letting go, then I could bring in those affirmations to
Yes,
help fill that space, because then I've made a space in my container for those things.
exactly. I so love that you took us there, because I struggled with that early on in my journey. I would be exposed to a lot of these positive thinking movements, affirmations, all kinds of different methodologies, techniques,
Mhm,
and some felt a little fake, some felt a little bit like I'm supposed to experience a shift, and I wasn't.
mhm,
And then I'd be like, why? What's going on? It's working for everybody else. Because I hadn't gone to the cause.
right.
If we don't, each one of us gets to their own cause on a bigger level, like it's all the same cause for all of us, the ego, or however you want to call it. It's that part of us that's an illusion.
There we go. Yeah.
But on an individual level, you got to find where the specific intricacies of your own
Mhm.
manifestation of your ego. So it's no point to just philosophize and say, oh, it's just the ego, because it's like, no, how does that actually show up in my life?
Mhm.
When I wake up in the morning and I'm having all the experiences I have, like, how does it really show up? And there's always layers to it. Like, I'm still uncovering stuff. And I've been doing this for, 20 plus years, just looking at these pieces. There's always, oh, interesting. I did not see that one.
Right. Right, 'cause you've gotten to a point of awareness where you're ready to see those things,
Yep.
right? And go even deeper. The healing journey is I would like to say it's infinite in a way.
It- yeah. Healing, the deep healing doesn't need to be infinite. There is a certain level of really getting to those core thingies and healing those. But then after that is more of a, oh, okay, there's that attack thought over here, and there's another one over here. So
Yeah,
yeah, that is more perpetual. But at some point, I think we get to a point where we don't take those as seriously.
right. Yeah, it's just like weeding a garden. The
Yeah,
weeds are gonna come,
yeah,
you planted a beautiful masterpiece here. The
yeah,
weeds are gonna come, they're gonna pop up every now and then, and it gets easier and easier to see them, to identify them, to pull them out, and to let them
exactly.
go, right? Maybe that's more of the infinite, and it's not so much healing,
Yes.
an infinite journey of like, "Oh, I gotta heal forever." It's it's a constant state of practice
Yeah,
in being the observer
that
and
conscious
mhm.
self-awareness, observation, intentional thingy.
Thingy. I like your word choice.
Thingy. Yes, it's just to take all these big words and make them really simple.
Thingy.
End of class.